Good morning, guys. We're into the next day of the build. Very cold morning this morning, so I'm starting a bit late, about 9 o'clock, but it's already quite chilly. And first thing I've done is put a temporary LED light up in the trailer. You can see behind me there. That's to try and avoid the flicker that I was getting from those work lights on the camera, and also switched to the proper video camera today, so hopefully the shooting will be a little bit better, although it may be a bit more cumbersome because the camera is a lot more heavy and Dad does tend to get in the way a bit more than a phone. So just have a quick look inside. So as you can see there, one of the Aldi LED bars, we've had those sitting in a bag for quite some time, haven't been making use of them. And what I'm thinking is they will do as a fairly good lighting system for this trailer, and I'll try and find some way of fitting them permanently, I think. Little dimmer switch there, and at the moment it's just running down to a temporary battery which I've got sitting in here, which is actually the battery for the kayak. So let's get to work. First thing I'm going to do this morning is get some padding under those straps. That's pretty important, so we need to get that done before we do anything else. After that we'll look at putting the battery box in the front container at the other end of the trailer there, and just see where things go from there. Okay, so that's the water tanks with the padding under the straps. Looks a little bit more sensible now. Got one more strap to run down from one end to the other, but I'll see how that goes. I don't know if that material, it's only just sort of like the yoga mat stuff. I just had it in the shed, so you can see the rest of it sitting on the floor here to keep me from freezing while I'm sitting on this metal. We'll see how that goes. If this shows any signs of wear, I'll replace it with something a bit more robust, but it may do the job. Now, for ease of access and proximity to the car, I decided I'd put the battery up the front here. I'm only going to run one battery in the trailer, and then it'll be easy to run a line down from the top there without drilling through the roof. I can just come down and put it through the back of the box here. So that, I think, is about the position I'm going to have the battery, having it mounted central to keep the weight as even as possible. Putting two aluminium angle pieces in there to hold it in, and the first holes there are going into a support underneath, so hopefully that will be strong enough to hold it in place. Okay, so that's in place, and probably not going to put a huge battery in there. It's only just for running lights on this thing, so we won't need a massive battery. For the moment it's going to be an AGM, mostly because that's what we're running and everything else. So the next job this morning is I'm going to put a hole through the end up there and feed in the cable from the front, and I'm not going to attach anything up yet, but just get it all sorted. We'll put a cable protector through from one side to the other, and what will happen eventually when the shelf goes in there, then the cable will probably run along this way down under here, and we'll bring it up over here somewhere to a power box, and of course the hose will go on the other side. Keep the water away from that. But I think my power box is going to go here, fuse box and power connections will go here, running back from the trailer, and first step to that is to get a cable going through to the trailer now. of these things before. I don't know if they're all for wood or metal. We're about to find out. Looks like it's a wood bit, that's a shame. I was hoping to get a bigger hole in there with that. I'm going to have to find some way of... Definitely going to have to find some other way of doing it now. I don't think I've got any hole saws that are for metal. That's the interesting thing. So, okay, that's going to put a little bit of a delay on that job.
Try and put the rivet through and see. Okay. Okay, sweetie. Okay?
Yep. So this is one of the small items we're putting up, just some hooks, one of those each side. No particular reason for those yet. That's not going to be where the hose goes. I've just got that to keep it out of the way, but we need a bigger hook for the hose. That handle on there is pretty thick. So one of those each side at the back. And the next job. What's the next job? Probably putting the hook on the door. Let's get on with that one. So the next job is to put this hook on the back door so that we can hold it open and stop it flapping around in the wind. Works okay on the coaster trailer, so hopefully it'll do the same job here. I may eventually need two of these, but we'll see how we go with one for starters. Now, for those who don't know what that is, it's a little self-punching device. Got that after I saw John Cadogan, the Auto Expert channel, showed us this, and absolutely brilliant, better than having to have a hammer. Added bonus with this, if you're in the car and you ever go into a river, that'll break your windows, so you better have it where you can reach it though. Okay, so that is the idea, to keep this door steady-ish. Like I say, we may need to put a second one of those on later on. So there's going to be a fair bit of force on that door with any kind of strong wind. But they work pretty well on the smaller trailer, so they should work okay on here. And here's the finished product. And they work reasonably well to hold the doors with a smallish breeze, but they won't do a lot to hold it in a big breeze, I guess. Now these little fellas are what I like, they have hose clamps. Very easy to use. Nice little sort of plasticky end on there. I've never had a problem with one breaking, and just a matter of tightening them up by hand. Will it be small enough? Maybe. Keep going, keep going. Yes, okay, it was small enough. But as you can see, I still need a couple more on there. That one's going to be a bit challenging to put on. Just have to pull it away a bit as I put it on, I guess. Bend that end down so it doesn't catch on anything. And they're so easy to use. And like I say, I've never had a problem with one of these bits breaking, although I've had those on the underneath of the coaster, the underneath of camper trailers, things like that. Better than having a little spanner to go and find, or even worse still, a Phillips screwdriver, which is almost guaranteed to slip out and stab you in the hand when you're trying to do these things up. And they do it pretty tightly. So we'll put 2 more on there, just ensure a nice watertight connection. Well, I was hoping to get that electrical connection done today and get the cable protector through. Most people will know what this stuff is, but you run that through on all your 12-volt lines just to protect the coating of it, and so when it's vibrating as you're going down dirt tracks and things like that, the protector is rubbing on the metal, not the wire coating of the metal, not the wire coating of the wire, because sooner or later you're going to get a short. And these things are pretty robust and they protect the cables pretty well. But I'm going to get a hole up there that's big enough for that to go through. So what I'm going to do now is go and have a ferret around in the shed and see if I've got anything that's going to make a bigger hole. I think all my hole saws are for wood, not metal, so might be doing another trip down to Bunnings soon, but it won't be today because I've run out of money just now. So that's going to have to wait until I've got enough to go down to J-Car, get the fuse box and get a few other bits and pieces. Well, it pretty much looks like that might be it for today. I've probably got a fair bit of footage there anyway to put together. Not a lot of work today really, just those hooks up on the wall here, the clip on the door. I haven't made up my mind about putting a chain on the door yet, because the minute I put a chain on there, if it's not removable, I'm not going to be able to swing the door out further, and there's a possibility that I may want to do that at some stage. So I've got the chain, so I'll just wait and see if I think that's a good idea, and if the clip I've got on the door is good enough. I guess one thing that I can mention is a lot of the gear I'm using, of course, guess where I get it? Aldi. They sell a lot of really interesting little bits and pieces, and I can't resist picking them up when I go in there. And they come in these good little boxes. A lot of stuff you buy comes in just cheap plastic throwaway containers, but they come in, you know, their own nice little containers. You can pack that up in your drill bag and just carry it around with you. Unfortunately, yeah, I should have read that. It says wood, so those bits are not for making holes in metal. I should have read that first, of course. Never RTFM. The drill bit I managed to break today came from Aldi as well, so unfortunately I've got a space in there now. But these are very handy little kits just to throw in your portable drill bag and take along with you on trips. It gives you most of what you want in one little place, and easy to find, easy to put back. You can tell what sizes they are just at a glance. And yeah, okay, they're not the greatest quality drills in the world, but I've broken expensive drills as well, so better probably to buy cheap drills than expensive ones, because if they break anyway, you're less out of pocket when these things break. You just go buy another one for, what are they, $9 or something like that, $12 for the set. So you don't really miss them if you break them. And the other stuff I get, this is a box from Bunnings. It was dead cheap. It came with a lot of little containers in it, but the little containers really weren't much good because the tops don't stay on them. But I use it for an odds and ends box. And again, you can see the Aldi word, work zone. We pick these things up and they're cheap. I mean, when you buy these, you go and buy something like that from Repco, they'll skin you alive for it. But Aldi sells them cheap. They work. There's nothing really wrong with them. It's a bunch of O-rings, all different sizes. You never know when you need an O-ring. All sorts of other gear I carry in here. That is from Repco, and that did cost sort of half an arm and a leg at least. Electrical connections. Another Aldi one, that's the shrink wrap. So it all fits in a box like this pretty neatly, all very well laid out, a whole bunch of different rivets. That's my old electrical connections box, which most of those are gone now. I use an awful lot. Another one, all sorts of connectors. We've got eyes to put on canvas and the little tool for that. The bottom one, you'd think it's full of keychains, it's not. That's nuts and bolts and connectors, U-bolts, bits and pieces, a couple of valve extenders and R-clips, all sorts of things you might need. So a little box like this, even though it weighs a bit, it's great to just chuck in the back of the car, or in this case in the trailer, and take it along with you. And you've got pretty well everything you need. And as you can see, another container there with nuts, bolts and assorted goodies, battery terminals, anything I think I might need on a trip if something goes wrong. And this one is full of assorted screws, bolts, nuts, nails, you name it, it's in there. And we've even got some little elastic tie downs that can be put onto something if we need to get something fixed down in a hurry. So as you can see, it doesn't take up much room, but a very, very useful little assortment of gear. You can just chuck that in a corner and it's got all sorts of things you might need. Now that weighs a few kilos, I gotta tell you. It's not light, but it is relatively small and easy to pack. So along with the tool bag, which is this one here, and the electric screwdriver bag, which is somewhere, you can see the electric screwdriver down there, our Ozito. I use that gear because again it works and it's not overly expensive. I've never had one die on me. So anyway, that's about it for this video. I am puffing and panting. It's about time to go have a coffee and sit down and think about what the next step is. So thanks for joining me on this little project, and each time I do a bit of work, and each time I do a bit of work on this, we'll do another video and just show you how everything's coming together. I love doing this sort of work. I'm not very good at it, but I really enjoy it. Okay, that's it for now. Catch you in the next video. Cheers. See ya.